What up, what up, y'all? This is Isaiah Fowler, founder of SWAV Eyewear and SWAV Agency. And hope everybody is doing amazing today, man. If you just tuning in on YouTube, definitely be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We got some good content coming on, and we really focusing on this whole direct to consumer, right? This direct to consumer mindset, this direct to consumer concept and everything like that, because we're in a time where product-based businesses is like, things are booming, right, for a lot of people. But at the same time, it's also important to understand the mindset behind it, right? The mindset behind it is super key, right? As long as you can understand the mindset and the strategy, then you're gonna be good, right? You're gonna be super solid. So, and the reason why is because, I look at things from a strategical perspective. I used to be in the military, and so I learned a lot about strategy, right? Strategy is super important. Strategy is like the back end of life, right? Strategy is like the hidden secret sauce, the hidden formula of a lot of different things. And strategy is so important, right? So today we are talking about never compromise your inner creativity, right? Never compromise your inner creativity. That's what I want to talk about today, right? So you have a company, right? I want to, map out something for you real quick. So you have a company. And so in the growing of your company, like the first year, maybe 2 years, most likely you're trying to find your positioning of your company. You're trying to find your voice. You're trying to find your style. You're trying to find out a lot of things about your company, right? How are we going to come off? How are we going to talk? How are we going to do this? How are we going to market, right? You don't really start coming into your own for a while, honestly, right? Because you have to build up your money, right? So that you can start investing into more quality content, more quality people, all these different things. But that just takes time, right? But one of the keys to remember is, if you always stay true to yourself, that is what's going to allow your brand to flourish and become something, because you're not trying to be like anybody, right? You're just saying, I'm always going to rely on self, right? It's about self-sufficiency, right? And so I say, never compromise your inner creativity, because your inner creativity is what got you here, right? So you have a product-based business, you've been growing it. A lot of times what people do is, when they start making some money, they stop doing what got them here, right? When they start getting a little bit of money, and that is all relative, and that's relative based on what you're used to and what income level gets you comfortable, right? But once you get to a certain level, you start just relaxing, right? You stop doing what got you there. You stop being as hungry. You start chilling. And it's like, hold on now. What happened with that same creativity from when you were first beginning? Because the creativity is what got you there. So why would you allow the creativity to fade away when you aren't, how could I say it? When you're better, right? You're in a better position, but you're not as creative as you used to be. So then what ends up happening is you find yourself in situations where it's like, okay, why is revenue down? Or why do I feel unfulfilled? Or why am I bored with my business? Because what's going on is you're compromising your creativity, right? When all else fails, you have your creativity to rely on, right? And in order to tap into your creativity, you have to always be connected to the reason why, right? Why you're doing something, why you did something. why you started this business. And then inside of that purpose, inside of that why, inside of that reasoning, it is a level of creativity that you can pull from to create different things, whether it be campaigns, whether it be videos, whatever it is, right? But your creativity is what people most likely fell in love with as a brand, whether it's creative products, creative packaging, right? When you start a business, when you're growing a business, your customer base is at some point getting used to, or you're conditioning them to get used to a certain level of whatever it is that you're putting it out, right? If you like, yo, I want to be known for the dopest packaging, then if you start that way, that's how customers are going to know you as. That's going to be your brand, right? So what happens is you have to understand that you can't deviate away from that once you start elevating. You actually have to double down on that, because what happens is that becomes your core competency. That right there literally becomes your core competency. You feel what I'm saying? You cannot allow your creativity to go away. You can't allow your creativity to not be there anymore, right? So if you have you and your team and you're trying to figure out, how are we going to grow this business? How are we going to get to the next level? Get creative. Start asking yourself, okay, why did we start this business? Okay. Where was I at when we were only doing $2,000 a month? Where were we at when we was only doing $10,000 a month? Right? What was the lowest point in the business? How did we get out of that? How did we get out of that, that phase in business, right? Most likely, your most creative moments came when you were at a really low point in your business, right? So because all the creativity came when you were at a low point in your business and now you've elevated and ascended, it's like, yo, why don't you just figure out or pull the creativity from those low points in your business? And that's how you're always going to be able to rely on your creativity. And that's how you're always going to be able to rely on yourself, right? Creativity is saying, hey, this is, the goal for the month. How are we going to get there? Let's look at what we've been doing for the last 6 months first, right? So we're going to look back and say, okay, for the last 6 months, here's what we've been doing. Here's how it's performed. For the last 2 to 3 months, here's what we've been doing. Here's how it's been performing. Okay, so what's the gap in the last 6 months? What haven't we done, right? What haven't we done in the last 2 months? What haven't we done in the last 3 months? And let's find a gap. And then what does the brand stand for? And, what is a dope creative way that we can, grow revenue, increase revenue, increase brand awareness, whatever it is. And you also want to have an objective when you're trying to, get to these next levels. It cannot just be about money. It cannot just be about revenue, because that is a vanity metric. When you're actually building something, when you're actually building a legit, sustainable, self-sufficient brand for the long term, right? That you're saying that one day I want to be able to get a big investor, I want to get acquired, right? You have to understand that you have to dive deep into the reason why you started this company so that you could tap into these different creative things about you, because at the end of the day, your business is an extension of you and it's your creation. So we have to really dive into you as a founder and say, okay, what about this company can I pull from, and then redirect that energy back out for a creative campaign to get out of this scenario, this situation, or to get closer to where we want to go, right? And that's also where strategy comes into place, because strategy is a very important thing if you don't know by now. I'm big on strategy. I'm a strategical advisor for some brands, right? Strategy is everything. But if you don't get to the point where you're able to pull creativity out of you and out of your company, then you're going to end up always like trying to be like everybody else. You're going to end up always looking outside of yourself. You're going to end up always just trying to, copy and replicate people. You saw that episode I did or listen to the episode about creating your own blueprint, right? You got to create your own blueprint. And that all comes back to your story. You got to be so tapped in and in tune with your story of your actual company, of your why, of your mission, of the vision, that you can always rely on those things to help you get to the next level, right? So going and tapping into your creativity is always going to get you out of whatever slumps you may be in your business. But it's going to take time, and it's also going to take for you to slow down so you can actually speed up, right? Super important. Learn how to slow down so you can speed up. Slow down so you can speed up. Super, super important, right? Take a day for you to sit down and think about where you want to go, where you want the business to go. And then you ask yourself, okay, what do I need in place? What do I need to happen in order for this to happen, right? And then from there, you start making your moves and you start making your decisions and putting the pieces in place. But you have to stay, focused and double down on your creativity as a company, because that's your company culture and that's your company. That's like your DNA for the company. If you lose that, then that's like you losing the soul of the company, right? So, and you also got to make sure that you personify the brand. And we're going to do an episode on, personifying the brand as well. So yeah, that's what I wanted to really really dive into. Your creativity lies within here, right? But then you got to know how to tap into here in order to pull that creativity out. And a lot of times you got to sit down and you got to slow down so you can speed up, right? And you may need a team, or you may need to hire a strategist like me so that you can get to a point where we can say, okay, what are we trying to do here? What's the goal? What's the vision? Where are we going? And then from there, we're able to create dope ideas and concepts that we can execute on and implement on. Feel what I'm saying? So that's what we got. Don't ever run away from your creativity. Don't ever go away from it. Always remember that everything you do in life, it does start with a vision. And, subscribe to the YouTube podcast, subscribe to the podcast on, Apple and all that other good stuff. Keep rocking with us. And always remember, everything you do in life, it starts with a vision. Peace.